All right, so in 4.3, we are looking at operations with polynomials. So in the last couple sections, we talked about what a polynomial was. We graphed them. We looked at some of the characteristics. In this section, we're not doing anything with graphing. We are just looking at how to add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. So a lot of this is algebra that we have done in the past, but it's a little bit more here in Algebra 2. There's going to be more terms, and the multiplying might be a little bit more in depth. So in example 1, looking at example 1, we're looking at just how do we add to polynomials. So you can see that we have basically we got one parentheses plus another parentheses. We have two polynomials here you can think of. We got one parentheses with a bunch of terms, and then we're adding another parentheses with a bunch of terms. Really, what we can view this as, the parentheses are kind of just grouping two things together, but they really don't mean anything mathematically. We can kind of get rid of them. So I'm going to do this a little bit slower than normal just to show you guys. I'm going to write this without parentheses. And on top of that, I'm going to take all my subtractions, because if we go back to basics and we just talk about what is subtraction, subtraction is adding the opposite number. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. So I have a minus 2x. I'm going to say this is plus a negative 2x and plus 5. I'm going to get rid of the parentheses in the second one because we really don't need it. Oftentimes when students see two parentheses there, they immediately think, oh, I'm going to have to multiply all this stuff together, which we don't, because we're adding, we're not multiplying. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to say plus x cubed. I'm going to change these subtractions as well to plus a negative 4x squared plus a negative 8x plus 1. So really, from the first problem to how we rewrote it here really means the exact same thing. In essence, we just have a bunch of terms that we're trying to add together. And so all we're going to be doing here is really combining our like terms. So on the side here, I'm going to put combine like terms. So we look for our like terms. We have to remember what a like term is. A like term is any term that has the same variable parts, right? The same, I'm going to say same variable parts. What that means is it has the same variable and then the same exponent as well. So like x squared and x cubed are not like terms because they don't have the same variable parts there. So if we look at our like terms, right, we can identify what our like terms are. We can see that we have this x cubed term and this x cubed term. Those are like terms. And we can see that we have a squared term as well here. Those are like terms. We can see that we have a linear term as well. We have a negative 2x and we have a negative 8x. And we have constants as well. We have this 5 and this 1. So we're just going to, when we add like terms, we're going to add the coefficients. So in this case, now again, we don't have to rewrite this again. I'm just going to do it for this one example. But just so that you can see that, as we're adding together terms, right, adding is commutative. So really, I can take these terms that are being added together and I can move them around. It doesn't matter which order I add them in because we're all just adding these terms together. So if I took this and sort of rearrange this, so what I mean by that is if I took this x cubed and I put it next to, I put the x cubes together, and then I took the squares and put them together. Okay, so I could like rewrite this. Now you don't have to rewrite it a second time if you don't want to, but I at least want to do this one time so you get the idea here of going back to basics here and understanding how we add and use the commutative property. So we can think of those like terms as simply being right next to each other, right? So I have the plus 5 and a plus 1 over here. And so I'm just going to add these like terms that are right next to each other. And so 6x cubed plus 1x cubed is 7x cubed. And then if I add the squared terms, 7 plus negative 4, that's 3x squared. And if we add the x terms, that's going to be negative 2 plus negative 8, that's negative 10x. And then 5 and 1 is 6. So there's the plus 6. And there is our final answer.